Okay guys, we got another product to check out. We're gonna do an unboxing and a review on this light that's supposed to be very powerful. So excited to see what it does. Let's open the box, go over all the details and check it out and see how bright it is. Okay guys, before we go any farther on with this review, my initial reaction, you look at the packaging is already small. You're thinking the light is within this packaging somehow, not embedded in this packaging. As you all can see how extremely small it is. It has an aluminum case, aluminum housing. I thought it was plastic, but aluminum housing. It's got a little weight to it, and it seems like it's very well made. We're gonna go over all the cool features in a second, but impressed with how small it is and how well it's made to see if it's as bright as they're saying. It's made by a company called Wurkkos, and the model number is the HD03. You guys can look that up online. There'll be a link in the description box for all this information, as well as a discount. You guys can see it has a clip-on to clip on your article of clothing, your belt, etc. Yeah, we're about to go over this thing. I'm curious as well as charge it. So the box shows you just some run times. I'll thoroughly go over all these details just before the video ends. Let's read the back of this. You guys can see it shows you just a simple guide to tell you the functions and how to operate it. I'll thoroughly go over all these features as well. We're also going to charge it up before we use it, despite that it's coming from the package already charged. So this is where you charge it at. Let's get some measurements really quick. All right, so we got a measuring tape here to put this into perspective on the size of this. 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches tall in height, 7/8 of an inch in width. It shows. Okay, the light itself is about 1 inch, because it's about 1 inch in diameter for the light itself, and the width, but that's 7/8 of an inch as well. So here's a light I'm going to compare the Wurkkos light to. It's made by Snap-on. The reason I'm going to compare it to it because it has the same size lens that the Wurkkos light has on it. And I do have a variety, or own a variety of lights, and I'll show you all some that's comparable as well. But this one has around the same lumens, maybe a little less than what the Wurkkos is claiming their light has. And this comparison should give us an idea on how bright this light claims to be. So let's get on with the review. So encased in this packaging was user manual, USB-C to USB-C, a lanyard tethered or a hook-on clip. See how long this cable is really quick. About 1 foot of cable. Yeah, we read about 1 foot of cable. So I'm gonna use one that I got on standby so we can charge it. Make sure it's fully charged before I go over all the features. I'll make sure you guys won't need this. I'll go over every single feature with this light. So let's put it on charge right now. All right, we got power. Let's remove this rubber boot. Let's flip it back out of our way. We're gonna plug it. Has a light on the side, let us know we're charging. So it's not fully charged yet. We'll be back when it does and go over all the cool features before we go test it out. Okay, we're charged up. It's green. That's also our power indicator level. It goes red, orange, or green. When it's red, it's between 1 and 20% battery capacity. When it's orange, it's 20 to 50%, and anything over green is 50 to 100% battery life for green now. So let's test out all the cool features, and I want to show you guys something else in the end that I think is cool. Here is spotlight. Here's the floodlight. We're gonna start off with the floodlight. It's a less brighter light and a different color tone as well. I think it's under like the 2700 to 3000K or 2700K lighting it offers, whereas the other one is probably over 5000K. And we'll start off the features here. Here's our power button here. Single press to turn it on. It's pretty bright. You can't tell the different light color here compared to the spotlight because it's just showing a light. The camera doesn't pick that up, but you all will see that. So let's go through some of the features here. It's the same in the floodlight position as well. So all these features I'm gonna do now, we'll also do on the floodlight, but it works the same. This light has 4 brightness levels, and you can get into those modes by holding it once. Just cycles through all the bright levels by holding it. You guys can see that's going at angles. You can see that. Me holding it, that's as bright as it get. Or if you want to go from 0 to 100, from level 1 to the final level, just press twice. That's bright as it's going to get here in this mode. So just go back, single press. We go back to the standard light. We can turn it off now just by clicking the button. So let's go through some of the safety features on this light. You got, let's power it back on. You want to go 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Now we're in strobe light. Press twice for the next level, which is the beacon mode. No, it's SOS mode, I'm sorry. Press again, that's the beacon mode. Single press takes you back to just the standard mode. Some pretty cool features here. And once again, we're in the floodlight mode. So, all right, we can power it off. I guess we'll stay in floodlight opposed to the spotlight just for the test the RGB, the different colors and the different color variations that it has. We'll cycle through those. I'm gonna press twice for it to go into RGB mode out the gate. That's the standard color or the color that it was initially on. And to cycle through these, there has a step list where you can cycle through them, or you can double click. It's pretty much the same way as going through just the regular cycles. You just entered a different light mode. To press the white light, you in RGB. So double click for the next setting. The next one. It changes colors through each one of the steps as well, or settings. That one. You guys can see it's cycling through all the different colors. Pretty neat. And it's bright. And that one. This is the final one, where you see the colors hovering around, circling around each other. Or there's a feature called stepless feature here, where we can go back to the first step, which is here, and hold it. It'll cycle through all the different colors. And if I want to stop it on the color or in that setting, just let it go and it'll stay there. Pretty cool and cycle through it on its own. All right, single press, you're back to the standard setting again. Let's power it off. Now, let's check out this. Power on. Now we're in spotlight mode. This is the brightest light mode the light has to offer. You want to cycle and power through them, you can just hold it. That's the brightest it gets. So this is the called turbo mode. This is the turbo lighting. Single press takes us back to the regular lighting, just the level 1 lighting. To go from 0 to 100, once again, double press. That's max lighting. And we can also go into the RGB mode once we power it off. In the spotlight position, double click. Okay, and I want to show you all this. This is something else I thought was cool. So this is my go-to light, but watch this. It's also magnetic. How cool is that? This little light has impressed me, and I'll close or conclude in telling you all what impresses me about this light. All right. Since we don't want to lose this, let's install this on here. We don't want to lose this while we're out here, so. super dark here. So we'll start with the snap on first to give you guys an idea of how bright it is. Pretty bright. Walk our way over to the greenhouse. Or just use the pole barn as a reference. This thing has got it lit up back here. Turn it off. Pitch black. All right, now let's use the turbo light. We'll start off in floodlight mode opposed to spotlight. All right, in floodlight mode. Single click. You're gonna cycle through some of the features. So this is the first level of brightness. You can kind of hold it to go through all the other ones. That's the next one. That's the next one. Final one. Remember, this is the floodlight mode, not the spotlight. And that is pretty bright. Let's go back to the lower level. All right, now we can also tap it 3 times to go through the different safety features, if you will. The strobe, double tap, SOS, double tap again for beacon. That's pretty bright, guys. And we're on just the floodlight, not the spotlight. All right, let's turn it off. That was a single press to put it back into normal mode or normal operating mode. Single press, turn it off. Now let's go over here in the light and show you all. We're gonna flip up to the spotlight. Let's go up into spotlight, where it's the brightest. All right, let's get back over here. We're aiming at the pole barn again, just for a reference. So single click, power on. You guys can see a noticeable difference already. Let's go through the different cycles. We'll hold it to go through them. Brightness 1 or 2, 3, 4. This thing is super bright. Oh my goodness, this thing is bright. Look at that. Wow. Single press to go back to that regular mode. This is the first level again. Now if you want to go to 0 to 100, just double tap it. That's full brightness, back in turbo mode. Single tap should put us back to regular. Let's go through the emergency modes in spotlight. Triple tap, 1, 2, 3. Strobe, double tap, SOS. Look at that. Beacon, double tap again. I mean, you can see all the stars up there. Somebody can see this light in the sky from a plane 30,000 feet up. This thing is mega bright. All right, let's go back to regular single tap. Get back in what's called. Now let's do RGB modes so we can kind of end it out here. So we can turn it off. I'm gonna show you all about moonlight mode too. I didn't show you all that feature, moonlight mode. So we power it off, single tap. Now to go into RGB mode or the different colors from when it's powered off, just press it 2 times. Now we're in RGB mode. And we'll just leave it here in the spotlight mode where it's the brightest at. So you can cycle through the features the same as if you're in white lighting mode. You can hold it to go through the different variants of or different gradients of light. And we can also double tap for the different features or the different Lighting options. One says in RGB mode. Double tap again. It's mega bright. Just sit on the ground. This is cool. Double tap again. Double tap again. Double tap again. You throw your own little party with this light. It's so bright. It's not giving off out here like that, but man, when you just hold this thing up, it's mega bright. Double tapping through all the different features. All right, guys, we'll conclude our test out here. Let me show you all the moonlight feature as we conclude this review. I want to show these lights because these are some lights I can compare to that I own. And these torch lights is probably about 200 lumens. Not as small as this, but very bright. Not nowhere near like this. These, they're bright LEDs. The cool thing about these is it has a compass on them, a built-in compass, and they're pretty bright, probably on the lines of a couple hundred, close to a couple hundred lumens. And as well as these, very bright, like a tactical light, aluminum casing, steel on the lines of close to a couple hundred lumens. Whereas this, I'll explain in a few minutes how many lumens this is and the work time and the work hours. But I just want to show you all some comparables. And by me dealing with so many lights, the reason I became an electrician because my fascination with lights as a kid, not as an occupation, just my fascination with lights. So I got so many vintage lights and so many different kind of lights, but these are the ones I thought was comparable to me buying or me showing this one off or reviewing this one. As far as stature and brightness, these things pale in comparison to this. All right, let's conclude this review with some technical data. Let me show you all the moonlighting feature first. To enter the moonlighting feature, we'll start off in the floodlight position to show you how that light look. You want to press and hold the button opposed to just single tapping it until it enters that mode. This is the moonlighting feature, a mode in the floodlight setting. It's a dimmer light than the spotlight, and I'll show you all that. This produces around 1 lumen in a continuous use of 35 hours, an impressive 35 hours of continuous use. Now it's powered down. Switch up to spotlight mode. Power it on. You want to hold it till it comes on, same way as you did with the floodlight. And this produces also around 1 lumen, a little whiter light than the floodlight option. And the continuous use on this is an hour more than the floodlight, which is 36 hours. So you got 36 hours of continuous use in this mode. I want to note that this light comes in a few different color variations and it has an IPX6 rating. That means if you're in the Amazon rainforest using it and you're dealing with torrential rains, this thing is not going to miss a beat. It's going to function as if you're under normal conditions. However, that doesn't mean it's submersible. You cannot submerge it underwater, otherwise it's going to malfunction. All right, now let's go over some of the usage time and lumens in the other modes. We'll start off in the floodlight mode once again, which is the lower light of both. However, it does decrease the time of the usage time when you're in this mode. Let's power it on. This is the normal mode or the low setting for the light. It produces around 15 lumens in the floodlight mode with 5 hours and 30 minutes of continuous use. Hold it to power up to the next level. That's the medium level. It produces around 75 lumens and you got a continuous use time of about 1 hour and 50 minutes. Hold it again, that's high. This produces around 150 lumens and you got a continuous use time of about 1 hour and 20 minutes. And finally, turbo mode, which produces around 320 lumens and you get about 1 hour and 10 minutes of usage. This is the peak for the floodlight or for both lights. Turbo mode is the peak for a flood or spotlight, but this is the peak lighting in floodlight mode. All right, let's power it down. All right, let's switch it over to spotlight. This is the brighter light or the more whiter light. All right, let's power it on. Power it on. This is the low setting in the spotlight mode. This produces 20 lumens, 5 more than the floodlight. However, you do got an additional 2 hours worth of use time. The continuous use time in this mode is 7 hours and 40 minutes. All right, hold it again, go to the next level, which is the medium. This produces around 110 lumens. Usage time is 2 hours and 10 minutes. Let's Go to the next setting. That's the high mode, produces around 320 lumens, hour and 20 minutes of peak use time or continuous use time. And finally, turbo mode, hold it again. This produces the peak of this light, 680 lumens at an hour and 10 minutes. So you get the same continuous use time as if it's in its peak at the floodlight position, where you're only producing 320 lumens, but you're still getting the same hour and 10 minutes of use time. As someone who's in the automotive field, a certified electrician, and I do many home repairs, this light is a game changer for me. There's a host of ways that I can have it right at my grasp, or you can have it right at your grasp, whether it's attached to your keys, magnetically, your belt clip, or you just have it thrown in your pocket so it can be on standby whenever you need it. This thing has unlimited ways you can utilize it, and I believe it's ideal for just about any situation, whether you're camping, hiking, walking on a trail at dark evenings, or coming home from work in the dark, and this thing light up your whole house, vehicle breakdown, or anywhere. I believe any kind of safety features is needed as far as a light with safety options, just in case of emergency. You know, anything can happen in this age and time in the world. Remember, convenience and reliability is key in life, or key, especially when you're dealing with something like this. And this light fits the criteria. In closing, guys, that's all we got for this review. This light is amazing. I highly recommend it. I'm going to give me a couple more just to have on standby. I'm going to give my wife one as well. So highly recommend this light. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hope you guys found it helpful. Hit that like button if you did. Thank you so much for watching. Terrence, I'm out.